Hey, a quick heads up before we start. The next cohort for the Strategic Leadership Accelerator is open right now, and spots are filling up. If you're ready to stop being stuck in the weeds and start leading at a higher level, stick around after the episode. You are secretly protecting yourself, and you're protecting yourself by playing small, by hiding. Where do you do that? How do you do that? And how do you overcome it? That's next.
Welcome to Leadership Mindset 2.0. Practical neuroscience and psychology to transform you from a tactical doer into a strategic leader. Here is your host, former social entrepreneur of the year and coach to some of the world's top executives, R. Michael Anderson.
In leadership, it's often up to us to walk the middle path. There's often extremes to the left and to the right that we want to avoid. Or sometimes we want to walk down them certain times, but then revert back to the middle. And we're going to be bringing up one of these today. And it is the difference between hiding and over-responsibility. And this came up because I just got off a coaching call yesterday with a small accountability group for one of the Mindset Accelerators. And we dug deep into this. And there was some really great content came out of it. And I'm here to share it with you. And dear leader, like I think I sighed as I said that, like I always do, I want to share something that's personal to me, that I get caught in the same issues that I help you with. So I'm not above these things. I still get caught in these things because I'm human and we're all human and we all need to learn these things. And they hide. Obviously, I've been doing this work for 15, 20 years. And just when I think I got it all covered, I catch myself in them as well. Luckily, I have great people around me to help see this, and I really have committed to my own growth. So, Michael, you're probably saying, let's hear it. What happens? Well, this whole thing about hiding is really interesting because there are so many places where we can not put ourselves out there and hold back. What I caught myself doing is this as well. And and I'll tell you where it comes from in a second, but specifically where it is. And I think I'm delaying this because I'm a little bit ashamed and embarrassed about this, is that you may know I'm 55, about to be 56, and I play on the UK national basketball team for over 55s, men's over 55s. And last year was my first year, and the coach made me a captain, the second captain, vice captain, I think it's called. And that was really great. They put me in a leadership position first year on the team, which was a real honor. And the second year, the next year, this year, there was a sign up where we could sign up for the different roles that we wanted. And there was a leadership team, and I didn't put myself on the leadership team. I hid. And then there's another situation where I'm a member of the Rich Litvin's 4PC Club, which is a top 4% of leadership coaches in the world. And what we do is we get together in person twice a year. And oftentimes, because there's such great talent in the room and amazing people, we present different sessions so that we can learn from each other. And of course, when you're presenting to your peers, it's a real honor and there's a real pressure to that. I had a couple ideas for Rich for this next intensive that I could, because I've been in for 3 years and I've never run one myself. So I'm like, okay, it's time. But again, here's how I was hiding. I waited till I was 3 years in, right? I didn't do it year one or year two. I stepped back and I waited and I'm like, okay, Mike, it's time. This is a good growth opportunity for you. And I gave him 3 options. And what he said is okay, well, give me a formal proposal on one or more of them. And I didn't like that, because I wanted him to choose something, one of those 3 options. And I really thought why. And it's because, if I'm really honest to myself and you, it's because if he chose one of them and it didn't go well, then part of me wouldn't have been all in. I could have blamed him. And it's really subconscious and it's really subtle. But often when we can find what's really subconscious and really subtle, those are the really important things to clear up and to move us more into our power. And so what I did is once I realized this, I committed, and later today, I'm going to make that proposal to him. And next year, I'll sign myself up for the leadership committee if it works that way in my basketball team. And my habit can be when I enter a new room, when I'm with a new group, to stay back and to work on fitting in, to see the energy of the group, to see how I can fit into that group. Now, look, there's times when you want to do that, though that can also be an excuse for not stepping forward, not taking leadership, not showing up as the true you. And how much time is wasted in trying to get comfortable, at being comfortable. And if you know who you are and your values, you don't necessarily need this burn-in time. You can be yourself right away. That's truly owning yourself. And sometimes we try to not be ourselves because we want other people to be comfortable. Somebody brought up that the people he was around maybe weren't as accomplished as him. So he didn't necessarily talk about all his accomplishments with them. And so that's not him owning his true self, his true worth, who he really is. And if he does do that, then maybe they are triggered, but that's their issue, not your issue. Everybody else's insecurities are not our problem. They need to step up for that. There's a parable, a very short parable that says a doctor moved to a very humble village, and he didn't want to distance himself because he was a doctor to everybody else. So when he moved in, he didn't tell anybody he was a doctor. And then what happened is shortly after, a girl got sick next door and she passed away because they were looking for a doctor and they didn't know he was a doctor and they couldn't find one. So we need to own our power. In addition, and I've been thinking about this, and it's a difference between there's a passivity and an activity and an action oriented. A lot of people are in higher level meetings and they don't necessarily share a lot. And they're smart people, they have a lot to add, but they're reactive. They're waiting for something really smart to come to them. They're waiting to be called on. However, if they change their mindset and really actively listen to the conversation and engage in the conversation and be ready, it's almost like are you sitting back in your chair or are you sitting forward in your chair? Because you're sitting back in your chair, you're listening to things. Yeah, good things might come to your mind. But if you want to be a strategic player, if you want to really impact things, sit on the front of your chair, lean forward, listen to everything people are saying. If you have a question, ask a question. If you have a comment, ask a comment. And that's total different energy. And that takes courage, because what is holding us back is our ego. Our ego doesn't want to be wrong. It doesn't want to fail. This is the ego keeping us safe. It is the ego keeping us perfect. But that's not what great leaders do. That's not what strategic leaders do. Strategic leaders put themselves in a place where they can fail, they can look stupid, and they know that if that happens once or twice, that doesn't mean that they're a failure or they're stupid. That means they're actually powerful because they have the resilience to work through a little knock like that. On the other side, some people take over responsibility. They're always active. They take on everything. And they get burnt out. They're the type of person that's going to be in every conversation, want to be on every committee, take every to-do, want to make all these different changes, never ask for help, takes on all the difficult things themselves, and they don't scale themselves as a leader. They're always tactical. They're running around, and they make things really difficult on themselves. They keep getting promoted, but then they eventually burn out because they get to a level where they can't do everything themselves. And then their team suffers because you're not growing leaders within your team. And then your career stalls or your company stops growing. And what's interesting is we can have both of these behaviors in our life at the same time in different areas at different times. And that's why I talk about walking the middle road, walking the middle path, and going into one or the other as needed. Look, sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you might want to be in a meeting and just lean back every so often. That's okay. Sometimes we need you to take over and to have over responsibility and to jump in and do everything yourself. That's okay too. either one of those are your natural ways of being, it's going to cause problems for you, for the team, and you're not going to achieve your potential. And so that's what you need to be aware of, dear leader. So that's the challenge for today. Where are you hiding in your life? Where are you not setting yourself up to be an active participant? Where are you leaning back, waiting for things to come to you instead of you coming to them? And just the same, where are you taking over responsibility? Where do you need to empower others? Where do you need to scale yourself and become more strategic and let go of this do everything yourself? I was going to say it's as simple as that. Simple concepts, really lifetime lessons. But just remember, these are the type of things, and you may be saying, oh, I don't do either of them anymore. Yes, you do. I'm here to tell you do. Somewhere in your life, you do. And if you can't find anything right away, then you have some reflection to do. But once you find it, it's going to be gold. And just go through these next couple of days, just keeping an eye on yourself, seeing what comes up. Because these little changes will make a big change to your ultimate success, happiness, and career. Before you head out, if you've been thinking for a while now that you need to operate more strategically, but you haven't figured out how to actually make that leap, that's exactly what we work on in the Strategic Leadership Accelerator. Over 6 live sessions and a focused cohort, you'll run through the specific steps to shift you from doing everything yourself to leading and influencing with the kind of leverage that gets you to the next level. Whether that's a promotion, invitation to the board, or strategically scaling your business. Go to rmichaelanderson.com/strategic for a whole lot more on it. The link is in the show notes as well.